Hi guys, today we're going to talk about paragraphs, the basic structure and expectations for those. So your standard paragraph contains the following. A topic sentence. The topic sentence is the main idea. It's often an opinion or a suggestion. It's not as often a fact, though you certainly can have some situations, some paragraphs in which you're going to use a fact as your topic sentence. Now, supporting that topic sentence are going to be some kind of supporting statements. Now, notice here it doesn't say supporting sentences. A supporting statement doesn't have to be a complete sentence. It can be part of one, though often it is a whole sentence. Supporting statements provide some kind of reasons why the main idea is true, or why I should believe the main idea, or something that is categorizing the main idea. Okay. Regardless, they're supporting that topic sentence. Now, you're also going to have descriptions. Now, you might not have these in some very basic paragraphs, but in general, when you're doing any kind of academic writing or any really real-world writing, you should probably have some descriptions that are providing extra information for your supporting statements. Okay, so the supporting statement is just that. It's a statement that supports, for lack of a better word, the main idea. The descriptions themselves give things like opinions, logic, observations, examples, common knowledge, and facts. Okay, and they help to describe or support the supporting statement. There's generally about one or two for each of the supporting statements, and they can be connected to supporting statements or in a separate sentence. Like I said, your supporting statement is not exactly a supporting sentence. So you can attach two clauses together, and part of that is a supporting statement, the other part is a description. Now, when it comes to the types of descriptions here, I would be a little bit careful. So things like opinions. Opinions are okay, but they're not great description. They don't make your ideas much more believable because they're your opinions. You're just supporting your opinion with another opinion. Logic is a little bit better, still maybe not great. Observations and examples are a little bit better. Common knowledge, as long as it's common, though that's something we can talk about later, might be better. And of course, facts. Now, facts are usually things that other people say are true. Of course, we can always debate how factual they really are. I'm going to go back to common knowledge. One of the problems with common knowledge is that common knowledge isn't really common. What might be common knowledge in one culture or one area or one group might not be common knowledge with another group, right? And so something that you think is true and just you don't have to discuss it, you don't have to support it, you don't have to provide evidence for it, might not be true for other people. And so generally common knowledge, you have to really understand who your readers are, and that if you can use common knowledge if they share the same expectations and cultural background that you do. Lastly, you're going to have a conclusion. Now, not every paragraph is going to have a conclusion, but many do, and especially standalone paragraphs, the independent one paragraph. The conclusion will often be something like a concluding remark or a transition to the next paragraph if it's part of an essay or multiple paragraphs that are put together. And I'll talk about what kind of concluding remarks we use a little bit later. So let's delve a little bit deeper into topic sentences. Topic sentences are the main idea of a sentence. They can be anywhere in the sentence, usually in the beginning or the end. Okay. They should not be a statement of fact. An assertion that can be supported with facts is generally what's used. Now, like I said before, there are some instances in which you might use a fact for a topic sentence. They need to be focused enough to be supported with a single paragraph, but they need to be general enough to require additional support. That's why facts don't often make a very good topic sentence, because it's a little more difficult to support facts. Now, that can depend upon a number of different factors as well that we'll mention a little bit later. So, take a look at these following ones. A. Seoul is a city of over 15 million residents. B. Seoul has grown greatly in the last 20 years. And C. Seoul has grown too much in the last 20 years. Now, think about these three and decide which one is the best topic sentence. Go ahead, you can pause the video if you want and think about it. Now let me add something here, and that is you should consider the following. Who is the writer? So what background does the writer have? What experience does the writer have? What knowledge does the writer have? Is the writer a novice or an expert? And this does make a big difference, because an expert can write in much greater detail than a novice can. So for example, if you're writing a paragraph for a language exam, for an English exam like the TOEFL, you're generally not going to be writing from the perspective of an expert. You'll be writing from the perspective as a novice. And so the reasons that you give, the facts, the evidence, the information that you provide is going to be probably general, right? Not very specific, not very knowledgeable. The same is true when you're thinking about who the reader is. So again, is the reader an expert or a novice? Someone from the same culture, a different culture? Do they have shared expectations or not? Right. Next, is it general enough to produce multiple supporting statements with good descriptions? So if you can only provide one supporting statement for your topic sentence, you probably want to make it a little more general. But on the other side, is it specific enough to limit the number of supporting statements to fit in one paragraph? So how many supporting statements should you have? Well, I can't tell you exactly how many, but to keep it at a manageable length, you're probably talking about 2 or 3 supporting statements. So if you're able to have too many supporting statements for your topic sentence, it might not be specific enough. So take a look at these again. Which one do you think is the best topic sentence? I think it differs depending on who's writing, who's reading, and other parts of the context. So, A, Seoul is a city of over 15 million residents. B, Seoul has grown greatly in the last 20 years. C, Seoul has grown too much in the last 20 years. Now, given part of what I told you before, C is probably one of the better ones. C is generally an opinion. You can easily support this. As a novice, you could probably limit the number of supporting statements. However, if you're writing for a group of experts or you yourself are an expert, you might need to go into more detail. So for that reason, it is possible to go into B and A as topic sentences. They would be much more difficult to write for. So with C, Seoul has grown too much in the last 20 years, you're just going to give examples or reasons why you think it's grown too much. So some problems that have come along with the growth. With A and B, more likely you're going to describe how it grew, or stages in which it grew, or times in which it grew. And so you're going to have to use a lot more facts and historical information to support that. So for you or I, we probably want to use C. And supporting statements, they provide support for your main idea, like I said before, your topic sentence. They're usually not facts, but usually other general ideas, assertions, statements that try to prove that your main idea is true or correct or the best. So these tend to introduce or categorize your descriptive phrases and sentences that come later. So for example, if I wanted to say that my topic sentence is the Kia Soul is a wonderful car, and one of my supporting statements could be it's a wonderful car because it's great for commuting, going to and from work. And then some of my descriptions would be in that category of great for commuting. So one might be good gas mileage, the other is comfortable, small and easy to park, and so on. Now you have about 2 or 3 supporting sentences per paragraph. Any less is probably too few. Any more, you might be getting a little bit too long in your paragraph. So description, like I said, supports that supporting statement. It provides more information to it. So opinions, logic, observations, examples, common knowledge, facts. Now, as much as possible, you want to stick to facts, things that other people have asserted that are true in some kind of publication. A newspaper, a knowledgeable website, books, academic articles, and so forth. Now, that's not always possible, and generally when you're writing for tests or other kinds of writing that you're not an expert in, then you're just going to have to go off the top of your head what you already know. And so for those things, you're probably going to go with observations, examples, common knowledge, and maybe even logic and opinions if you have to. But I'd probably try not to. Last is the conclusion. The conclusion most often restates the main idea, so it says the main idea again, just in a different way. It could summarize the supporting ideas, so put them together in one word or phrase. You could add a concluding remark that extends what you wrote about, so you could transition to the next paragraph. You can call to action. Call to action says, because of this information, you should do this, right? Or next, go do this. Or last, it can point to a future outcome. So, for these reasons, if this doesn't happen, then in the future this thing will happen. Okay? Or because of these things that I just talked about, in the future this is going to happen, this will happen. All right? And probably the call to action or the future outcome are two of the more common ones. So now let's take a look at this. Let's identify the pieces of this paragraph. Now this one should be relatively easy to do. It's in a very traditional, easy to analyze way. So what I want you to do here is pick out the topic sentence, the supporting statements, the descriptions, and the conclusion. Why don't you pause the video and do that now. Okay, so I hope you're able to do that. Let's take a look at the answers. Now in green I have the topic sentence. There are 3 reasons why I prefer jogging to other sports. The blue ones are the supporting statements. One reason is, and often supporting statements are introduced like this. One reason, another reason, first, second, then, next. So here, one reason is that jogging is a cheap sport. Another reason why I prefer jogging is that it's friendly to my heart. Finally, I prefer this sport because it's safe. The brown ones are the descriptions. So it's providing examples, observations, and so forth. I can practice it anywhere at any time with no need for a ball or any other equipment. Example. I don't have to exhaust myself or do excessive efforts while jogging. It isn't as risky as other sports like gymnastics, racing, or horseback riding. Okay. Then lastly, in red, you have the conclusion. For all these reasons, I consider jogging the best sport of all. So this is just a restatement of that main idea. Now this one was easy. Let's take a look at another one that's not so easy. Take a minute, read through this, and try to analyze it. Now, I don't want to give the answer to this one on the presentation. We'll do this in class together. But as you can see, it's a little bit more difficult than the previous example. The topic sentence isn't always in the beginning, right? And it's not always organized in a very clear and easy fashion, though this one's not too bad. Right? Let's talk about this later in class. Now, also in class, we're going to start this project. I'm going to have you write a paragraph. Okay, it's going to be something hopefully somewhat easy, something you know something about. I gave you some examples here, but you can pick really anything that you want to write about. It's only going to be one paragraph, one simple, short paragraph. Okay, and we'll talk about it a little bit later in class. Take care. Bye-bye.